where Earth ends and space begins. Two top guns battle for one prize. Artistry and Iron champion Greg Westbury.
Gotta work faster.
And his challenger, Brian Fuller.
Brian Fuller's there to bring his best game because we are.
Greg, I hope you're not nervous, man.
10 days to bend metal into the ultimate machines.
Damn. Sweet.
Both have guts. Both have chops.
There are no rules for me, really. You know,
That's exactly what we're looking for.
But only one has the right stuff to win the ultimate prize. From hot rodder to bike builder to world champion, Greg Westbury has exploded from obscurity to become the best of the best. In his shop, nestled in the hills of Northern California, he'll have 10 days to prove he can stay on top.
I'm Greg Westbury. This is my shop, Westbury Hot Rods. Welcome to our biker build-off. Let's go build a bike.
Greg's crew is the best.
I called in, the guys that I thought were best equipped for the job.
Cole Foster, a bike build-off veteran.
I've always admired his work and been friends with him for a long time, so it's a good chance for us to work together. And my old friend Mike Baker is the motor guru. Brian Fuller's there to bring his best game because we are.
Greg starts with an original one-off frame.
We've completely hand-formed this frame, curved the tubes, and I like to do the frames real vintage, kind of reminiscent of an old bicycle.
Except this bicycle frame takes 3.5 quarts of oil.
I make the upper tube where it's actually the oil tank, and it comes down. When these tubes go together, there's clearances machined inside them to let oil come through.
The oil drops through the down tube, travels back along the right side of the rails, and up the seat post where it enters the engine. The oil returns through a stainless steel tube that feeds into Westbury's signature beehive filter before returning to the top. Lightning holes in the down tube are a throwback to Greg's hot rodder roots.
They basically did it because everything was made out of steel plate and real heavy materials, and they would drill holes in it to lighten stuff up to make it go faster. You guys both know.
Hot rods have been in the Westbury family for generations.
My dad, Bob Westbury, came by to see the bike, how we're doing today. He kind of got me started in all this stuff.
Greg started his career cutting up cars in his dad's shop.
So it's his fault. I was going to be an attorney or a doctor, but
Sure you are.
things changed.
We both share, I think, the idea that we both like things that are a little bit different. He has sort of an uncanny ability to be able to visualize something and do it in a very tasteful manner.
Greg's fellow builders agree. He won the prestigious invitation-only Artistry and Iron competition, voted champion by his fellow competitors. Cole bangs out the rear fender.
Well, I'm just going to trim out the radius on the fender. He wants me to cut it and make a flip in the back, kind of like an old Schwinn.
Mr. Foster heats and bends half-inch steel tubing to make the fender struts.
No one's going to be riding on it. I don't think so. It just needs a simple tube, kind of a sissy bar.
Sweet.
The 93-inch S&S Indian V-twin lies in pieces.
We took it all apart, polished it, and cut the barrels and the heads down to round them off to make them match more evenly. We went in and cleaned up the ports on them. That, pop the head gasket down.
The frame drops over a 23-inch Foose rear wheel. Greg assembles a knockoff 1936 Harley VL Springer front end from the German company WW Cycles.
The thing I don't like about Springers, any of them, is the springs being up 4 inches too high in the front. So we actually cut the springs down today. I took about 2.5 inches out of them to get them down level with the bars.
Greg has a message for his competition.
And one of the bombs that's dropping is going to have BF initials on it, so we're going to drop a bomb on Atlanta in about 3 weeks here.
Brian Fuller rumbles into his shop on his custom royal blue Indian. This exotic throwback to the 30s established Brian's reputation as a young builder to watch. The Indian went head-to-head with Greg Westbury's old school custom in the 2006 Artistry and Iron competition. Once Brian masters the style, he's ready to move on. Today is no different. In this matchup with Westbury, he's going to rip apart a 2005 Buell donated by Stone Mountain Harley to create his own radically unique machine.
And we're going to use every component that we possibly can. We're using the front end, the perimeter brakes, the calipers, engine, trans, starter, all that stuff. Basically just kind of junk the frame and the wiring and start over.
Brian's new frame utilizes a rare two-piece design.
What happens is you put the chain on and you get it kind of like, you know, sitting in there, and then this actually pivots right here just enough to tighten the chain.
This ingenious system allows Brian to forego a bulky chain tensioner. Wedging horseshoe shims against the rear of the transmission keeps the chain tight.
This is where the frame ties into the front. There's no down tube at all, which is kind of unusual. The engine and trans becomes actually part of the frame, and that's what makes up the distance in between. So you're using it like as a structural piece.
I mean, some of them are Harley.
Well, this is this original Buell front end, which is like mega tight, crazy clearance tolerances, which fits on here really nice.
The massive 22-inch rear wheel arrives fresh off the CNC machine.
Started out as a 400-pound piece of billet aluminum. I've probably got about 50 hours in it getting it to that stage already. It's got a fair bit more work needs to be done.
Neil got the rough kind of shape as far as he could get along until, I guess, about an hour ago. And it's roughly there, so we'll be able to, you know, get it in, do the mock-up, do all that stuff. Once we're finished with that, we blow it apart for paint, then we'll be able to finish machining the wheel. Yep, you're pretty close. Yep, I think you're in. Yeah, it looks like. Just gonna wiggle it around a little bit. All right, I think it fits. Everything seems to line up. Good job, man. I think we did it. The main reason for the big tire was to get the forward rake. You know, to have a big rear, small front, like kind of like a old dragster or hot rod or whatever.
Trained in the legendary hot rod shops of Southern California, Brian Fuller has used his formidable skills to create everything from hot cycles to hot rods.
Okay, so now, now I've done cars, I've done bicycles. You put the two together, you got a motorcycle basically.
The next 10 days will push Brian's skills to the limit. Luckily, he has some help.
This is Zach Salago. He helped make the frame, and what they've done is they've got an oil bath product that's really sweet, bolts right into a soft tail, but we're going to make it special for this frame. We'll take these things, we're going to make them fit inside of this little spot here. I'm thinking it's a little bit long, so what we're going to do is actually trim it out. And normally the battery goes in here, but what we're going to do instead is just run the electronics inside of it.
I'll beat on it and cut on it until all the seams work together. And then once that happens, we'll weld it up and figure out how to mount it.
Veteran metal fabricator Dennis Fordworth is on the rear fender.
We're going to English wheel it down the middle to get the rise up the middle. It just leaves a real nice smooth one, but these edges, you got to draw those down the most.
Brian uses stuff lying around his shop in unconventional ways. In this case, he uses welding rod to make his tank pattern.
It's already come straight, so you have a consistent curve, so you have a consistent line. So everywhere you lay this, you know that when you put it in there, it's going to have a consistent line there, and you can basically, you know, mock up your shape and what it's going to look like very quick and easy. I mean, this was about 2 hours. I'm going to make the center part of the tank first, and then move to the outside next. The tank should be about 6 or 7 pieces. It's got a tunnel, 2 bottoms, 2 negative dished out spots, 2 positive shapes, and then this goes through the center.
When it comes to shaping metal, any surface will do.
This is a sweet one there. Recognize that? Fence post. I like it.
Day 2, Atlanta, Georgia. Brian Fuller warms up his shop before attacking the mule.
It's big. We found these stainless cones. What we're going to end up doing is putting big dual exhausts on each side. I like the dual exhaust. It's hard to do on a Harley. Normally you have your exhaust coming out right here and it gets really in the way of your down tube. So not having that as an issue anymore, we'll be able to make dual exhausts that will be like, I think, really cool looking, and it'll definitely be loud as hell.
Brian finishes off his exhaust system with unique sleeves.
And then what we're going to do is we kind of came up with this stainless steel wrap that's going to go over the weld. So good to go. It's just basically a way to keep from having to, you know, grind them and metal finish them and just spend a lot of time and energy sanding stainless, which is a real pain in the butt.
Dennis Fordworth rolls the massive rear fender.
It's like magic. Flat piece of metal, turn it into whatever you want.
Dennis's plan is to take the modified Buell taillight and recess it into the rear fender.
It's not shaped yet, but you get the feeling.
Get the feeling, hold on.
Look at that, that's going to be cool.
Yeah, baby.
You know what I'm saying? That's going to look just killer.
Across the country at Westbury Hot Rods, Greg is having second thoughts about the rear fender struts.
I kind of looked at them last night and I'm not really feeling it, so I'm going to start by removing these and build a new one that just kind of wraps. I want to follow the fender because it's like this big dramatic back wheel. I just don't like the way that strut breaks up the line and circle, so we're going to fix that first. Working on the frame, but if I don't like something, it's, you know, it's pretty easy to take it off and cut it off and redo it, so that's what we're going to do. The koi are boiling.
Koi.